Hey guys, it's Michelle Pippin, and I'm the founder of Women Who Wow, the premier online coaching and mentoring platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur. And I'm here to help you discover your best approach to creating the success that you know that you deserve and are capable of creating. And the reason that I'm doing this is because there's so many people out there who will want you to drop everything, including your own personal preferences and desires and all of that, and follow their version of the best success plan and make sure that you dot every I and cross every T. And I hate this kind of Stepfordpreneur little march that people are doing. And so I've been really kind of looking for the best way to empower people to create their own success approach, right? And I am extremely cognizant of the fact that I am getting ready to launch the Women Who Wow Way, the manual. It has templates and scripts and everything like that to arm women entrepreneurs with the systems and habits and everything that they need to create success. But it's all applied on their own terms. It is all applied in their way. That is the difference between us and other people teaching entrepreneur success. So when I thought about the best way to approach any goal that you have in life, I started thinking about this one line, right? This one line is, or this one like phrase is, how you do anything is how you do everything. Now, I'll tell you that the first time that I heard this phrase, it was used to kind of guilt us on like a teleseminar, where it was used to guilt us to pay attention and put your phone up and get into quiet areas. Like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so obviously if you're doing dishes, and they'd even said that, like, I didn't think about that until just now. They're like, so don't be doing dishes while you listen to this. Like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you phone this, like, listening in, then you're not going to get the success that you want. But here's how that comment actually really works. How you do anything, or how you do one thing, is how you do everything. And here's how it really works. Like, we tend to have certain tendencies, right? And so whenever I look for a truth or a principle, I want to make sure that it works, like, not just in business, but also like in marriage or friendship or fitness or diet or, whatever it is, right? And so when I think about how I do one thing is how I do everything, something just came to me the other day, because I was actually telling someone that, like, my hardest thing in running is like the what do they call it? Tempo runs, right? Where I'm just trying to like maintain the same pace for like 45 minutes. I feel like I'm going to die. Partly of boredom, partly of like, heat exhaustion or whatever, right? And I'm like, that's just not the way I'm made, that kind of steady pace over a longer period of time. How I do one thing is how I do everything. And let me tell you how I run. I'm always going to gravitate towards the interval trainings, to the HIIT trainings. I want to go hard for a little while and then meander for a little while. That's the way I do fitness. How do I eat? I do intermittent fasting, basically eating in intervals. How do I work? I go hard for short periods of time, and then I meander and wonder and journal and all this other stuff for a little bit of time. So for me, the best approach to any kind of success, regardless of what goal I'm pursuing, it's going to be sort of that interval, intermittent kind of HIIT approach. Does that make sense, right? So like, as an example, if you are if you're someone who doesn't mind working long hours, as long as they're kind of slow and easy and at your preferred pace, then in real life, when you are trying to get fit, you're probably gonna gear more towards like longer walks, right? Like that's what you're gonna gravitate towards, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you're trying to discover your own best approach to how you incorporate the strategies you're learning, how you design your day, consider how you do everything else. Do you batch cook like Alice is on, right? If you're not part of her Fulfilled After 50 group, I'm part of it, and I'm 42. But one of the things she does, she meal preps, right? She meal preps. She's no doubt going to be somebody who probably batches or content. Alice, tell me if that's true, right? Like, you are a planner. That's how you plan your meals, plan your fitness, plan your business, right? It's not the wrong way. It's not the right way. It's your way. Tell me if I'm right, if that's sort of how it applies for you, right? So if somebody is like a heavy lifter in the gym, they're probably a heavy lifter at work too. They're probably someone who, is more interested in bigger projects that need bigger teams, etc., right? Like, to me, if I need a spotter, I ain't doing it. And that's the way it is in the gym, and it's the way it is in my business. Right? So good. So I was dead on with Alice, and I felt confident that I was, right? Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. There's going to be some similarities between what works for me in, fitness and conversely, what doesn't work for me, right? What does not work for me. For me, it's like the long step-by-step approach, right, is, oh, Alice, you're putting a recipe in the crock pot. Does that mean that you are not paying absolute attention to this live stream? Right? Put down that recipe. I'm kidding. So, like, the if you guys missed that, I made a joke about that at the beginning of this training. So anyway, but like, for me, it's like I'm never going to I'm never going to run a marathon. That does not fit my personality or my approach to anything, right? So I'm just not that person. I'm a high intensity interval trainer. That's how I work. That's how I do fitness. That's how I do everything. And so if you are a walker who loves to walk and just hike and slowly do that, then you know what? Your hours are going to look very different than mine. When you look at my hours in the office, right, you're going to think, my God, the woman's hardly ever there, right? She's hardly there. It's like, how does she get it all done? But the thing is, I'm going hard when I'm in here. You can't take a steady walker's approach and try to fit it into my hours any more than I could take my go hard philosophy and fit it into your long, elongated hours, because I would kill myself, right? So it's what works for me may not work for you, and it's totally fine, right? And so for me, everything is intervals, intermittent fasting, intervals of how I work, flow is how I work. But here's what undergirds, regardless of your pace or your approach, here is what undergirds all of success. It does not matter. None of it matters. Like, it doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter how long you've been trying for this goal. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter, if you're a woman or a man. None of this matters. Here is what undergirds all of success, regardless of your specific approach. Your approach should be yours and yours alone, right? It should be a perfect fit for you, especially because we're entrepreneurials, right? Like, we're designing our day. We're designing this business. We want it to be a perfect fit. So don't try to put on somebody else's clothes when you could design something to be absolutely custom. So I want you to think about what undergirds all of success, right? The first thing is daily habits. If you want to make your marriage better, don't think in terms of, a vacation, right? Don't think in terms of vacation. Think in terms of daily. If you make your business better, don't think in terms of what you're going to do at a 2-day event. Although, if you're considering a multi-day event, then join Alice and I in the Outer Banks in early December, right? You definitely want to be there. It's going to be pampering. It's going to be some publishing. It's going to be some amazing girl time. It's going to be a working pajama party. But you don't want to wait for that, right? Daily habits undergird all of success. The second thing that undergirds success is expectation. When you think about the things that are working in your life, right? So we talked about like fitness or diet or whatever, right? When it's working, you can borrow from that and bring it into other areas of your life. And that's how you choose your approach. Expectations will determine how far you go, how fast, how easily you maintain new levels of success, or whether you don't. And one of the things that I realize is that I have certain expectations, and I don't discount them. I know that a lot of women struggle with what I'm getting ready to say. And so I don't I don't take it lightly that these are my expectations. But I had and have an amazing dad who made me feel loved, and not just loved, but cherished and protected and all of that. So it's very easy for me to expect exactly that from men in my life, and to be respected, to be cared for, to be seen. Like, all of these things were things I absolutely expect. And let me tell you something, you get what you expect in life 9 times out of 10, right? It's when you are kind of expecting to be taken advantage of, expecting people to dawdle on their payments, expecting people to say no, expecting people to say it's too expensive. It's like, these are the things that creep into how we do everything in our business. And so one of the things that undergirds every bit of success is we've got to raise our expectations to match what we're going for, right? So as an example, if you have a goal of $100,000 a year or $100,000 a month, right? Like, if that's your goal, it cannot seem extraordinary to you, right? It can't seem extraordinary. The truth is, I have an extraordinary love affair with my husband. That's the truth, right? But it doesn't feel like that. It's what I always expected. Anything less, I'm not going to really deal with, right? And so when you are thinking about your business, the daily habits are key, but also your level of expectation. We need to raise what we expect as normal, right? We need to raise what we expect as normal. This is something you've got to do deliberately. Otherwise, you'll kind of be hemmed in by your past, right? By what has happened in the past, or what happened all the time in the past, or, little things that have been happening, and whether they're good or bad or just indifferent. Your past can begin to define your future if you're not raising your expectations, right? So one of my best and favorite ways to do this is a journal prompt. Like, it is now normal for me to, and actually I have to sometimes cross out the word now because it makes me feel like I'm rewriting them. It is normal for me to be loved and cherished. It is normal for me to have people buy immediately. It is normal for people to be excited to be invited into Women Who Wow. It's normal for the right women to find us at the right time. It is normal for my events to fill. It is normal for, whatever, right? So like, these are things that I write out, and I encourage you to take your goals and write them as if they are normal. It is normal for me to, and then insert whatever is important to you. Eat whole foods. It is normal for me to have a body that I'm confident in. It is normal for me to be able to put on a pair of jeans and feel like I look great in them. It's normal for me to feel like I am succeeding as a wife and mother. These are things that I write out, right? Because I have to constantly up-level my expectation. Our businesses will not for long outperform what we expect of them. We might hit periods of extraordinary success, but we won't maintain them if we keep thinking of them as extraordinary. So as an example, I have this thing called the Project 10K going on right now. And I will say, like, when people are getting 10K months, like, I immediately go in and say, I want you to rewrite your new normal. Like, I don't want this to be like a one-time, one-hit wonder where you're like, I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I did it. I want us to have gratitude, definitely, 100%. But I don't want it to be extraordinary, right? We want to rewrite our normal. The third thing that undergirds, regardless of your approach, you can be a walker or a heavy lifter or an interval trainer in your success approach, regardless, or some other version of it, right? But regardless, if you don't have daily habits expectation, and this last one, which is going to get me in some trouble, but low tolerance, right? Low tolerance. I think I might write an article soon, but my mom used to always tell me that it wasn't going to work well for me. It wasn't going to, she'd say, bode well. Is Michelle, you have so little tolerance for humanity, she would say. And so like, it's not going to bode well for you as you get older, because the premise was that as I got older, I become less tolerant. And she was right. She was right by that, right? Like, I have become less tolerant. I'm absolutely intolerant of like sloth, of willful ignorance, of, people who will not think critically. Like, I'm woefully intolerant of things like that, right? And so, but it actually has served me pretty well, right? Because when you have huge tolerance, when you're willing to tolerate things that you don't really want, and you're treated in a way you don't love, and your body isn't the way you want it to be, and your energy isn't where you want it to be, and you are extremely tolerant, then that normal, the normal that isn't great, the normal you didn't feel like you deliberately chose, will extend, and it just keeps pressing on and on and on and on. And my advice is get super intolerant. Get super intolerant. So it's like when you have a standard, when you have a goal, and you're missing the mark, you be intolerant of that, right? And be like, you know what? I know I'm this far, but I want to get here. I want to be intolerant of almosts, right? I'm super intolerant of myself when I am in a persistently almost category, right? So intolerance can actually be an amazing gift because it forces you to change your circumstances, to change your energy, to change your body, etc., etc. And it's funny because in my own fitness, and I'm not at all where I want to be, but I stayed where I didn't want to be for so long because I tolerated things that I would have never tolerated back in the day, right? And I started tolerating sizes I wouldn't have tolerated before. I started tolerating fat rolls that I wouldn't have tolerated before. I started tolerating stuff, right? And that is something that held me and kept me stuck where I didn't want to be. So when I become intolerant, it actually allows me to break out of ruts and routine, to take new ground, and to achieve my goals. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope that it empowers you to choose your own pace and approach, right? To take the principles, that which are true all the time, and apply them in your own twisted little crazy way, right? That is what allows us to set ourselves apart in business, is that we take what is works, right? We take truths, and how we bring them to market is uniquely our own way. And that is what I really, really want you to do. I would love your thoughts on this. So please put a comment in the comments below and let me know you watched this, or tell me who you are, or where you're from, or anything about your business, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching live. And I can't wait to get to know you guys better. Talk with you soon. Bye.